Hey, thanks for tuning in today. I've just returned home from catching up with a client this morning. We spent a couple of hours together. One of the conversations we had was about recognition, about formal recognition. And I was just making the point around informal recognition and how actually, like, I remember, I'll never forget when I was over in India running this workshop for 30 leaders in the construction industry. And I don't know what we were doing, some type of card sorting game around motivation, recognition, that type of thing. And one of the cards was, I'd be happy if my supervisor or leader just said, thank you. The biggest response was, I just want a simple thank you. Like, just want someone to appreciate what I do. I'll never forget it. Like, everyone just stood up, and it was the most powerful thing that I've witnessed in terms of recognition. There's a book I also frequently mention. It's called The Courage to be Disliked. And there's something in here that maybe, I guess, prompted me to grab my Kindle and some of the annotations. So it starts with recognition, but then I might share just a few other threads that I found in this, because I love this book. And I think out of all the books I've got on my Kindle, this is probably the most annotated. I've got the most notes on this. So much so they don't even feel like highlights. I feel like the whole book is a big highlight. But let's talk about recognition. So how the book is set out is it's got like a mentee and a mentor. It's a conversation. The whole thing is like a conversation between these two characters, the philosopher and the youth. So the philosopher says, maybe it is easier to live in such a way as to satisfy other people's expectations, because one is entrusting one's own life to them. For example, one runs along the tracks that one's parents have laid out. Even if there are a lot of things one might object to, one will not lose one's way as long as one stays on those rails. But if one is deciding one's path oneself, it's only natural that one will get lost at times. One comes up against the wall of how one should live. Yeah, it's interesting around, like, I guess those people that, and this is probably a little bit separate, but people, they're kids, they're like, oh, I know what I want to do in life. And they're just so set on that. They've got that path. But for people like me, maybe you, if you're listening, you don't have that path laid out. So you really have to think about, and you do get lost as well. So in terms of recognition, does one choose recognition from others, or does one choose a path of freedom without recognition? It's an important question. Let's think about it together. To live one's life trying to gauge other people's feelings and being worried about how they look at you. To live in such a way that others' wishes are granted. There may indeed be signposts to guide you this way, but it is a very unfree way to live. Now, why are you choosing such an unfree way to live? You are using the term desire for recognition. But what you are really saying is that you don't want to be disliked by anyone. Youth. Who does? There's no one anywhere who'd go as far to actually want to be disliked. Philosopher. Exactly. It is true that there is no person who wishes to be disliked. But look at it this way. What should one do to not be disliked by anyone? There is only one answer. It is to constantly gauge other people's feelings while swearing loyalty to all of them. If there are 10 people, one must swear loyalty to all 10. When one does that, for the time being, one will have succeeded in not being disliked by anyone. But at this point, there is a great contradiction looming. One swears loyalty to all 10 people out of the single-minded desire to not be disliked. This is like a politician who has fallen into populism. So, that's the whole premise. The title of this book is The Courage to be Disliked. Okay, I'm going to fast forward to this part. Workaholism is a life lie. With workaholics, the focus is solely on one specific aspect of life. They probably try to justify that by saying, it's busy at work, so I don't have time to think about my family. But this is a life lie. They're simply trying to avoid the other responsibilities by using work as an excuse. In a sense, that is a way of living of refusing to acknowledge one's life tasks. Work does not mean having a job at a company. Work in the home, child rearing, contributing to the local society, hobbies, and all manners of other things are work. Companies and such are just one small part of that. A way of living that acknowledges only company work is one that is lacking in harmony of life. Okay, now going back to recognition, this is actually quite late in the book, but it kind of circles back. You are forgetting an important issue. If one's means for gaining a feeling of contribution turns out to be being recognized by others, in the long run, one will have no choice but to walk through life in accordance with other people's wishes. There is no freedom in a feeling of contribution that is gained through the desire for recognition. We are beings who choose freedom while aspiring to happiness. If one really has a feeling of contribution, one will no longer have any need for recognition from others, because one will already have the real awareness that I am of use to someone without needing to go out of one's way to be acknowledged by others. In other words, a person who is obsessed with the desire for recognition does not have any community feeling yet and has not managed to engage in self-acceptance, confidence in others, or contribution to others. Okay, I could go on. Maybe I'll come back between now and the end of the year with some more favorite quotes from this book. I just love this book so much. In particular, the part around vertical and horizontal relationships, which, between now and the end of the year, you'll hear more about. Thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.